Hello, we will be doing a simple application. The application is we have a file called user IDs.txt, and this has predefined user IDs, let's say John, Sarah. So we have David. So we have such names, and in a file, and I'll show the file right here. And so we have this file. So the user, where we will have a form, a label called enter user ID, and the text box. This is a text box where the user will enter a user ID, a new user ID, and he submits. There's a label called check availability. Okay, availability. So when he enters this, clicks this button, what we do is take this text that user entered and we will take this user ID, check against this file, and see if the user ID is taken. Okay, that means we're going to check each and every line: John, Sarah, David. If we could not find anybody, then the user ID is available, right? If we enter, say, Sarah, then we will check these lines and say Sarah is available. I mean, it's already there, so then we say user ID already taken. So Sarah means the message box should say user ID taken, right? Yeah, user ID taken. If some other name is the user enters, which is not in this file, right? Let's say any of this is not in any of this, then we have to say congratulations, the user ID is available. That's all we need to say, right? Let's say Bill is not here, or Bill is here. Let's say Kathy. If it's Kathy, if you enters Kathy, you should say congratulations, right? So let's go ahead and start working on that project, right? So here we have a form. So I'm going to collect a button, first a button here. The button we can name, this is the text that is going to appear. So check availability, right? Check availability. Then we'll have a text box. We're going to drag a text box somewhere here, and user is going to enter that value here, and this we'll call this one as the name as, I should say, text user ID. That's the text box user ID. This button, it should not be button, it should be btn check, for example. Check ID is a button. And let's have a label, just for the sake of label here. Label. Let's say LBL user ID, right? But this label, we should get the ID here, somewhere here. Where is the text? There it is. Enter user ID, right? So let's bring it this one little lower, yeah. And so let's have a tag, what do you call tab order. So let it be 1 and 2. Yeah, let it be like that, no problem. That's all. So we need to add a code for this, right? So code for this. So before we go to the code here, for example, I have listed the operations for you. We have to open the file. We will give the file name, and our file name is this guy, is this user id.txt. So that should be easy. And we know how to use the peek. Here it is. This one will check if we reach the end of line or not. So we're just going to just copy that, right? Just copy that. It's not a big deal. So this is each line. We are going to read each line. So when we read each line, we compare against the text that he has entered. That's all. It's very simple, right? We read every line and compare again user ID. Yeah. So let's go ahead and just plainly simply copy what we have. Right. Before we copy it, let's get the form here. Okay, I got to get rid of those. The event button ID, check ID is the, so here button check ID and button check click. There are 2 buttons, so check ID is what we have, so we don't need this guy. I have that text user ID, right? We don't need to do that too. There's nothing there. So here we are going to call this guy whatever we had before. So we'll just copy those 2 lines here. So as soon as he clicks the button, we come here. We need to have a file name. File name we know, user IDs.txt. We need to put a double quote. It doesn't like it. So we have that, and we need to get the string ID, dim on user entered ID as string. It comes from the text field, text user ID dot text is what the user ID has entered, so it will be here. And we open the file, and we need to close it before we read it. So freader dot close, that close is the one, so it will close it. So before these 2 things, we need to read each and every line, and we have opened it. And let's go and get this peek thing. That's it. We read. It's very simple. And so what this does is it reads, it checks if he has not reached the end of file. Basically, this particular function checks whether when you're reading each and every line or every data, it will check if you reach the end of file. Okay, if you reach the end of file, it's going to return -1. Otherwise, we have not reached the thing. So we are going to read line, which is what we thought we'll read each and every line, right? We're going to read each and every line. And the string, this says, I don't know what the string is, says, so dim string as string. And now we need to check it. That's it, right? We need to check if string equal to user enter ID. That means whatever the user entered is already there in the file. Then we say message box show sorry, the user ID is taken. Right? User ID is taken. See here. I want to expand here. User ID is taken, and we if your user ID is done, we need to close and get out of here, right? Or we can say Boolean, for example. Boolean. We need to say Boolean. dim flag as boolean, right, equal to false, and if we find it, we need to set the flag to true, and we break off the loop, say exit while, right? So exit, what is the exit? Exit do, because it's there, right? Flag, and here we check if flag is still set to false, that means the user ID is not taken. So this code, the way I do, you have to just pause the video and read this again. First I make the flag false, then I keep reading the names. As soon as I find some user ID is taken, there's no point in continuing and reading the rest of the stuff. I set the flag contrary to what we have here and I exit. That means I don't want to be there anymore. So if it is false, that means what? We never entered this if statement, right? So that means the user ID is there. So we have to say congratulations user ID. Congratulations, user ID is available, right? And we close it and move on with our life, right? Simple application. And so go ahead, I'm going to cut and paste this code, and so let's first see if it works, right? If nothing works, what's the point? And so I'm going to get this guy, start debugging. So I'm going to enter, see, always test two cases, right? Test two cases. Here it is. So let's test with Miller, right? Miller. So Miller, sorry, the user is taken. You see that? So let's do something else. We said Kathy, right? Kathy. Congratulations. See that? So let's try to debug this. Let's just try to debug this. Then only we'll understand. Okay. Let's look at the names we have. Then it's easy. Let's figure Steven. It's easy, right? Steven, right? Steven. So I'm going to start. Where is it? Steven. Ta-da. Okay. Let's do it one more time. Right? Let me put a breakpoint here, and start debugging it. Let's put Steven. It opened the file, so we are going to cut slowly. I'm going to just say slowly, and the user, we read one line, which is John, which is the first one. You see that John is the first value. You can see that John is the first value. So let's go ahead and see what we have. So we are able to read John, right? And we entered what? What did we enter? Okay, it is not coming up. So let's go ahead and so it's not user entered is different, so it didn't even come here. Go back again. It's going back to reading again, and it's going to read as Steven. the user entered, what did the user enter? Stephen. This is uppercase S, see that? And what the user entered is lowercase. So we didn't check for uppercase and lowercase, right? So you need to work on that, right? So work on that, okay? You need to figure that out. So it's continuing and continuing, and so it couldn't find the user Stephen, the lowercase s here, okay? So I'm going to stop it. I'm going to stop the debugging, and so it's a case sensitive, right? It's a case, so you need to convert the thing to all uppercase or all lowercase. I leave that to you. Let's work on something that is let's put the uppercase s itself, then you'll see. Then you say user ID is taken, right? The lowercase s, it thinks it's available. So those are the things, simple gotchas, but the idea of this video is to show you how to read a file. Remember, you have to keep the file in the bin directory. In the bin, here I'm debugging, so you need to put it in the debug directory. See where the exe is, and then you read using a do while. Not equal to this, not equal to is the key, and and then I have to close it. See, when I'm done, I'm closing it. So almost everything that we do like read line or read whatever it is. You can read as integer, you can read like if you read as integer, you have to convert this into a what do you call it, into a integer. All right, so that is the basic idea about how to open a file. Stream, this is a stream reader, okay? This is a stream reader, and sometimes when you enter the stream reader, it says it's not available, potential fixes it will say. So you say import system.io. That's another key thing you need to incorporate, right? When you don't have that, right? For example, it will say see that? So it potential fixes, it will say import system.io, just say that, then it will go and import it. So, okay, so that is the key when you do that. So I will upload this for you guys, and try practice this. All right, thank you.